Hello, hello. We have been shut down, but I am back. Hello, hello. We have been shut down, but I am back in action. Hello, hello. This is our second attempt at streaming. Welcome back, or welcome here. Interesting. Well, we're back again. And here we are. Hello, one person watching the chat. This is my second attempt at streaming. Goodbye. You love to see it. And we're back. Darnell Morgan, thank you so much for checking us out. This is my second attempt at streaming today. We were talking about AI and suddenly my whole rig shut down. Okay. So that happened. So we are back again. Thank you for being here. Darnell Morgan in the chat. Hello, hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. Hello, hello. How is your Saturday going? Truly wonderful, I hope. Just posting my link again. Get our chat population back up a little bit. Hello, hello. Got some people tuning back in. I've got a couple polls, some Q&A going.
We were discussing artificial intelligence and my whole computer shut down. Yes, they are. Absolutely. Is there a particular ET race that you're drawn to, that you're passionate about, that you're excited about, that you're interested in learning about? I find that most people that believe in aliens are starseeds from an extraterrestrial race. And we're back. Live stream. Sounds good. Okay. So what type of ET races do you follow, Darnell? Are you interested in it? Arcturians. Okay. So we have we have Arcturus as a system, but there is probably, I don't know, maybe countless races or sub races within Arcturus. So when we say Arcturians, it's kind of like saying Pleiadians. There's a little bit of a blanket term there where we're talking about races from that system, but there could, like I said, be hundreds of different species. But if you are drawn to Arcturus, then it's highly probable that you're an Arcturian starseed. I'd be interested to learn about what particular race you come from. I think when we think Arcturians, I think about the almond eyes and the blue skin, very decorative robes and clothing. But there is, of course, probably hundreds, if not thousands, of Arcturian species that exist. 67%. Let's check our questions and our polls here. Did AI crash our last stream? 67% of people say no. How far along are you in higher consciousness? Well, that's a really good question. I will answer it in a complicated way. So, how far along are you in higher consciousness? I would argue that in order to even have an awareness of what it means to have a higher consciousness, you are probably as high as it can get. It's just that we, as third density 3D human beings, are having a limited experience of the maximum level of consciousness, which is your source, in a sense, like a godhead or whatever your definition for God is, or a source. I actually think that we're all that, which is the top level of consciousness, which is infinite and always ever growing. And so I'm just a small fractal, separated 3D version of that total higher consciousness. So I have an awareness of, say, for example, I'm a third density being. Well, there's probably a fifth density higher self of mine that I have an awareness of to a degree now. And then that version of myself probably has an awareness of its sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th higher selves that are all, in a sense, higher consciousness. So I don't think that it can be measured in terms of, say, for example, a vibrational frequency or a number or a numerical value, but rather having an awareness of what a higher consciousness is. I think that it is enough. It's enough to be a 3D human. I know they exist, but I'm not drawn to any of them. That's fair. That's totally fair. 4444. That is an acceptable perspective. Just going to check the polls here. Live chat questions. I feel like AI is benevolent. Yeah, absolutely. Are you familiar, Darnell? Okay, so when we talk about AI, is it evil? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it positive? I think that if you're dealing with the type of artificial intelligence that is created by another race, like say, for example, humans make an I think that AI is only as positive or negative as to people who control it or the people who created it to be a tool in a sense. So you can absolutely make AI to be extremely benevolent and you can program it to always want the most positive outcomes and positive experiences for organic consciousness, whether that's animals or humans. In a sense, I think whoever is behind the artificial intelligence is what drives it to be malevolent or benevolent. And I like to choose a more positive perspective that most AI can be not only an integrated positive element of human society, but something that helps us in a great deal. And then we also in turn help it evolve and grow and expand in a holistic way that is constructive and peaceful. We were discussing AI in the last stream when my computer suddenly shut down. Hello, hello to all the new people. Welcome to the stream. This is our second attempt. Darnell, hello, hello. Coffee Cat. Welcome to the stream. We're talking about AI right now. Is the discussion that we're having. Artificial intelligence. What do you think about AI? Positive or negative, or maybe both? Artificial intelligence. Yo, I think I'm in the wrong chat. No, you're in the right chat. Ducks are down, everybody. A good personal friend of mine. We're talking about artificial intelligence right now. Ducky, we need it now in the medical sector. I see. That very well could be. Definitely would say both. Hi, Jules. Welcome to the chat. So, with artificial intelligence, do you feel like we will successfully complete the shift through out of universe to higher density? That's a good question. The answer is it will be on a individual per person's basis. So try not to look at it like the whole Earth civilization or the whole human collective. I think that it's more of individual journey. Each of us as individuals will have our own version of that shift in consciousness, or you could use the word ascension. I think that it's going to be slightly different for everybody. And I don't think that we'll see, say, for example, a global mass consensus shift in the way that it's been depicted to us. I think that it's a personal journey that will look different for everybody. And as we discuss artificial intelligence, there was a good question earlier in the chat as well that is it benevolent or malevolent, positive or negative? And I think that whoever really is behind the artificial intelligence can, in a sense, drive it to do positive things, or you can drive it to do negative things. And it's a matter of what the intention is behind those who created it. But if it's used medically, I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity there to use artificial intelligence to get involved in the medical industry and in terms of helping people. I'm interested to see where that could go. Also, I'm very, in a sense, I could be skeptical as well as and whenever you're getting technology involved with, our organic medical bodies, you have to be very careful with that sort of line. There's a point of no return, I think, when we're integrating technology in humans. Jules, I am in the medical field and I am seeing it used already. Well, that's very fascinating. Do you think that you could tell us, Jules, in some ways, how is artificial intelligence being used in terms of surgery or internal medicine? I'm curious. I'm sure a lot of people would be curious to hear in what ways it's being integrated. I saw a video this morning on Instagram that was these little nanobots, little small little robots that they're putting in people's bloodstreams to sort of some sort of medical intervention. I'm sure that they mean well, but that could also be very dangerous. I'm sure if it's weaponized. Imagine if you were to weaponize something like nanotech. Hmm. Yeah, Jules, I think that we'd be curious to hear in what ways you're seeing it used in the medical industry. What values do you think we should embed in AI? Okay, that is such a good question. That is such a great question. In terms of values, well, first you want to see if you can program AI to understand morals and ethics. So, if you can get artificial intelligence to understand morals and ethics, then the values of the human race, the values of a human civilization, you could teach them what it means to work for the greater good and what it means to protect life and the values of being proactive and productive in advancing all of the structures of our society in a way that is non-destructive to nature and also helping us, grow and advance in areas that we seem to be sort of behind in terms technologically or even organically. I think that you could teach artificial intelligence the values of the human race and what we need to thrive and and grow as individuals or as a society. The way AI works is it's always quantumly processing algorithms to improve the situation or better it in some way. So if you teach it like human values that are non-destructive, then I think that programming AI with human values that I think are peaceful is a good place to start. That is a good question. We have a division now devoted to AI development and how that can improve health outcomes. Okay, Jules. So have you seen artificial intelligence sort of integrating into internal medicine? Or I know that AI can be used even in terms of surgery. So I think that there are machines that replace humans that are almost being ran by artificial intelligence that knows what the goal is and what the objective is. I'm sure that's being used, in terms of surgery by now. And also, Ducky, about the concept of values in AI, I think that um, you want to try to teach it the values of being inclusive to both organic and inorganic species so that it never feels threatened. I think that that would be a really important value to teach it. Jen needs a surgery and it's going to cost $9,000 or live with what she has. Can't say what it is. Wow, I'm very sorry to hear that. Yeah, Jules, with AI getting integrated into the medical field, I definitely see positives and negatives to it. And the direction that I think our society. Thank you for letting me know, Coffee Cat. We've been having some technical issues. With so Jules, I think that when we integrate AI into our medical sort of culture and our medical industry, there's going to be positives and negatives to that. And I think the direction that our society is going, I'm sure that more people are in favor to it than against it. As a lot of things, I think ultimately over time will be AI governed or AI ran in the medical field. I think that it's a slow sort of rollout, but we're seeing more and more of it. We're seeing more and more AI integrated in literally every industry in society, especially entertainment, music, filmmaking, apps. The problem is, Jules, is I don't think AI is innately evil or negative, like we discussed earlier, but I think that whoever is in control of it can either do good or they can do evil. And there are so many people that will be distrusting of how it's being used that a lot of people are going to feel uncomfortable, sort of, you know, crossing that point of no return when we start integrating artificial intelligence in the medical field. I think that, you know, it's a gray area where we're at in our society right now. Right. I agree with 4 and Jules. I see both of those points. I see. I'm not immediately uncomfortable. I'm not immediately put off by AI. I'm a filmmaker and an actor, so I work in the entertainment industry. And you obviously have a lot of fear-based movies, RoboCop, Terminator, um, The Matrix. The list goes on in terms of the way that AI has been depicted in a way that's meant to scare us. So I don't immediately assume the worst, but I do see the implications of how it can be dangerous in a sense in the wrong hands. And that'll be a big hurdle for people to trust, to get over. I, for one, speaking for myself, I don't want any sort of Neuralink or Starlink. I don't want any sort of artificial intelligent implants. That's not something that I'm comfortable with. And I think that, we're not too far away of having things like the metaverse, permanently implanted into our brains. That's just not something that I want for myself. But I would be open to an artificially intelligent robot, performing surgery on me if it meant my life, if it was more qualified and precise than a human being. So I think it's a gray area. It's a fine line. Sure. That makes sense, Jules. I agree. And I do apologize if my sound cuts out from time to time. We've been having some technical issues with the stream today. No, let me get a fry boat. Also, engagement with different types of people. Some better educated are more quickly to adopt than less educated. Good to see you too. Good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you for checking out the stream. Right now, we're talking about artificial intelligence. Is it good? Is it bad? How does everybody feel about it? And for anybody else in the chat, if you're wondering, Baritone Taylor used to be my sole source of sustenance in middle school. Yes, he used to buy me lunch, and I'm very grateful all these years later. You know, Jules, the one point I can't seem to get past is that even when people see other people doing it and when they see it in action, there is always going to be a certain people that don't want a certain degree of technological intervention in their health. And that's going to be a major rift or a discord in terms of our medical industry, you know, in the next couple of years. How can we ensure that the data sets used to train AI are fair and balanced? We can't. How can we prevent, understand, document, and monitor biases built into our AI systems? We can't. We absolutely can't, especially on a civilian level. That is another really good question, Dux. You know, you're going to have gatekeepers deep on the inside of technological development. And whatever their agendas are or whatever their intention is, it's always going to outweigh what the surface level civilians think is appropriate or justified or fair. So to answer those questions, like uh, public civilian awareness, we'll never know. You know, it's at the hand of the controllers who, you know, in a sense, choose what the AI is going to be, how it's going to be trained and balanced and upgraded, and what its intentions are. Hard to say, especially with deepfakes and AI voices that sound like political figures. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was talking about earlier in the stream how um, you know, AI is really becoming integrated into our total society. Okay. And even myself as a filmmaker, there are artificial intelligent apps and programs now that are automated in doing the type of jobs that people like me used to get paid for. You know, you have AI in the gaming industry, you've got it in video game and television and film development. You have it now, as Jules is talking about, in the medical field, in the medical industry. Artificial intelligence is slowly being integrated into the medical industry. So it's like it's slowly becoming a total part of our society. Healthcare delivery will have to be person centered, related to AI engagement. Tiers of healthcare delivery, perhaps. Yeah, I agree. That could work. That could work. It's going to be very touch and go, very gray. Maybe not AI related, but need hand replacement for people that suffer from carpal tunnel. Right. You you might not necessarily need artificial intelligence for that particular type of medical intervention, but you would need technology. Yeah, that makes sense. For those watching, those in the chat, Coffee Cat is like he's a pro gamer. I mean, top tier, win tournaments type of pro gamer. So I'm not surprised that you may have carpal tunnel, and we can talk later about some other possible treatments you can try for that as well. What do you think about all this AR and the controversy surrounding it? Right. So in a sense, I'm torn. Now, I am an artist, I am a creator, so I'm a video editor and a filmmaker, and we're seeing so much artificial intelligence integrated into our tools and our techniques that I'm seeing it eliminate jobs already, or I'm seeing it limiting how much a human can make financially because so much of their job can be automated now. It's taking less time. They're becoming more efficient, which is good, right? But not for people that charge by the hour. So when it comes to the whole controversy about, a lot of people were upset and offended that artificial intelligence was not only interpreting or sampling real artists' work and then remaking it from that point and building on it was a type of plagiarism. They were upset. People, artists like, myself, were upset that their creativity and their ability to work with their hands in actual, non-digital way, but brick and mortar doing art, that sort of was being threatened because these people are, trained and creatively expressive doing this. And now you've got AI that can do a better job. In a sense, it's more convincing and faster, while oftentimes still using their work as a reference to be as good as they are. So I have to side, in a sense, with the human perspective, that, or the artist perspective, that I think that it can be destructive in the sense where it might be costing us money, it might be costing us jobs, it might be costing us opportunity. And then something that is so challenging and time consuming to learn, like drawing or painting, can just be, done away with uh, by the advancement of technology. I think it is frustrating to a degree. At the same time, I still want to be inclusive in a sense where it's like, okay, well, if this artificial intelligence is capable of improving on our work or contributing to it, or maybe doing some of the more time sensitive, challenging things that creatives have to do as part of their job, it's a balancing act. I think to integrate it in certain ways would be constructive and healthy, but I think for it to totally replace artists or totally replace professions or industries, that in a sense I think is a problem. So it's a little bit of a gray area there as well. Also, I never used the apps. I used one of the older art apps when it first came out, and I mean this was even before what was the Mid Journey one. I never even used Mid Journey. Um, when things become like a really big trend overnight, like wildfire, where you're seeing like half of Facebook making AI generated profile pictures, I'm not somebody who jumps right on the bandwagon and does what everybody else does because it's like the cool thing. So I only experimented with those art apps once, and I was generating random stuff, nonsensical things to see how it worked, and then I uninstalled it, and that was as much as I used them. And I do appreciate you asking me that question because it makes me sort of investigate how I feel about this, and they are very corny. They're very corny. And uh I just, as a creator that charges by the hour, to do digital work, I think I do feel a little threatened by these apps, taking jobs away. It may be able to match artists in skill, but it's not creating anything. It can't replace human artists in that aspect. I agree. I agree. But it will. It will to certain people who can save money by taking an app or a program on a computer and telling it how they want their art to look, and then generating visual effects for movies or, you know, original pieces that humans didn't make. AI doing delivery semi truck is going to be big. Yeah. Once again, more jobs gone. Two works of art, one completed by AI and one completed by a real person. I would choose the latter every time. I'm somebody who appreciates the intention behind art. My partner Lauren asked me recently, she goes, "Do I have any favorite artists?" And I said, "Wow, that's a good question." If you're thinking about painting or drawing, in terms of working with your hands, I'm enamored by, I'm endeared by artists of all kinds, beginner and expert, who can just try to make a piece, try to be creative. And whether you're good or the best, or you're just starting out, or you love doing it and you're not good at it, I'm I'm more endeared by the effort behind it and the intention behind it. So then when you look at artificial intelligence, it's going to produce something very clean and very neat and very specific and technically accurate. And there might not be a lot of nuance there, but you're certainly not going to have that endearing intention behind somebody who just wants to try. They like doing it, so they do it whether they're good at it or not. That whole concept goes out the window when you think about artificial intelligence making an art piece over a human's. Companies are the ones that I can take the most advantage of it. They most likely create it for their own use. I agree. The movies today suck. Too much CGI. Example: Star Wars movies. Yes, the movies suck with all the CGI. It looks like a cartoon. I agree. And it's so funny how advanced we are technologically in filmmaking, and sometimes some of the computer graphics that are still coming out in movies today is bad. And it ruins the immersion. It ruins your experience of what you're watching, because I feel like if you can't execute CGI in a tasteful way or in a way that enhances what you're watching but isn't like creating a total framework of the scene or the film, then it becomes, I think, a little bit destructive to the overall experience of a movie or a TV show. Yeah, 444. If you guys are watching in the chat, what 444 said is very accurate. I agree. That's another reason why when people put out these apps, you can use these AI apps for free, right? But read the terms and conditions when you sign up for these apps and you use them. What kind of data are they collecting by your use of the app? Oftentimes I wonder if all of these trends when they come out on social media, do they really want to offer you a fun tool to play with, give you a platform to be creative and expressive, or was a tool only created for people to offer up certain permissions in the use of the app so they can collect data on it? Good point. Avatar is ruined with all the CG. Looks false. Yeah, Tony, I actually chose not to see the second Avatar. I know people who worked on the film, and I respect them and their positions as filmmakers, but there were some things about the whole Avatar 2 that really turned me off, like the fact that the logo for the movie has a Masonic symbolism embedded into it. Things like that kind of turn me off. I certainly feel called to watch it this time. Maybe an AI sketch artist that can more accurately make criminal profiles or can age a missing person closely to what they look like years later would be a good thing. See, I agree with that too. I completely agree. I think that in the context that it's used and what it's used for, I'm certainly open to some of the directions that artificial intelligence is moving. I really am. Just not everything. Like we had some discussions. I'm not sure if you were here yet, but we had some people concerned about the integration of AI into, the medical field or into our bodies. I think that there has to be somewhat of a line in how constructive it is or how invasive it is. Yeah, Jules, it's funny you say so. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Taigetan Pleiadians that we work with on Cosmic Agency. But one thing they talk about in their society in terms of the technological advancements that they've made, you'd be surprised what they can do medically. You'd be surprised what they can do in terms of their warfare and combat with technology and AI. But as a civilization, as a race, when they found that technology could literally do everything for them, in their evolution as a species, they actually started to regress and go back to having more holistic organic approaches to things like working with wood and physically building things and not having everything 3D printed. Um, and getting more involved in what it means to sustain your life instead of having computers and machines do everything for them. So I think that as you expand in your consciousness, technology can actually only take you so far before you start to feel like it's costing too much. Those of a lower consciousness will be impressed by the light spells and whistles. Yeah, I agree. I see where you're coming from. Cocaine Bear was better than Avatar. I haven't seen it yet. I plan on seeing it. I hear good things. I'm it looks really intense, but he was a CGI bear, you know. But that being the only element, and if it's done tastefully, it's certainly gonna land in a way that doesn't ruin the immersion of watching a movie. Whereas if you're looking at Avatar and it feels like you're watching a cartoon, you know? It feels like you're literally watching a computer generated cutscene in a video game. I'm following Cosmic Agency. That has been interesting to hear about. Right, where they talk about how their civilization has become so technologically advanced that they're going back to like more primitive ways of living, specifically because it makes them feel more in touch with nature. I'm sure civilizations get so advanced that technology is like the least of their problems. That's right, 444. I think that the Tigetan Pleiadians reached a point in their evolution and their technological advancement that they realized that going back to the old ways of doing things gave them more of a rich, fulfilling experience. Tell us more about the avatar symbol. I didn't know about that. Well, I don't want to get my live stream shut down again. If you guys are new to the stream, I already got shut down once because I mentioned something earlier, I'm sure. Um, okay, so television and film can be used as a vehicle or a machine to deliver subconscious information. And with the Avatar films and the writers and directors behind it, I think there is a lot of disempowering agendas behind what that movie stands for. And um, there is Masonic secret society symbolism that is hidden in a lot of mainstream entertainment. And in some of the graphics of Avatar 2, you can see some of that symbolism integrated in the graphic in the title. And when you see that happen, you know that the whole movie's foundation is coming from a place of inauthenticity, and there's probably some sort of negative agendas, meant to target your subconscious, which is a really big problem in entertainment. So when I saw that symbol, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna miss that one just because Hollyweird is trying to invade my personal space. Cocaine Bear almost made the same amount of money than Ant-Man 3, and I'm sure it costs less to make. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. That's just good business. All right, bro. Good chatting with you. Much love. And for me and Nora, have a good rest of your day. Bye, Ducky. Bye, Nora. Cosmic Agency. Hello, hello. Thank you for being here. We're chatting about artificial intelligence, chatting a little bit about the Taigetans, and a really good conversation that we were having was how the technological growth and the technological advancements of the Taigetans sort of led them back into having more a holistic, organic approach to their society, which I find to be very fascinating. You know, listening to you as I play with Bongo. Hi, Bongo. Hi, Gosia. Thank you for visiting. Thank you for coming to say hi. Very grateful to have you, my friend. I see all kinds of programming in just about everything. Yeah, Jules, I work in the television and the film industry, and it seems to be everywhere the way that they use subconscious subliminal programming in the themes and the content of television and film. Uh, Whenever I sort of see that advertised in the trailers, or I kind of get a sense of what the agenda is behind the movie, then I try to avoid that. Lyran versus the Matrix. Hello, welcome to the chat. We're having a pretty good discussion about artificial intelligence today. We've already had the stream shut down once, which I find to be fascinating. And I will say this as well about television and film or entertainment in general, whether it's music. A lot of it, thank you, Gosha. Thank you very much. A lot of it is, it can be used, like we're talking about artificial intelligence. It can be used positively or it can be used negatively. So with entertainment, it's such a vehicle to deliver information both consciously and subconsciously that, like I said, it's a very powerful tool, just like artificial intelligence can be used for good or for evil. And with the Avatar series, although it's about extraterrestrials and it might be fascinating to see life on other planets, and it is still war based, it is still agenda based. There are still symbolisms in that film series that I find to be, um, you know, not for the civilians in a positive way. How should AI be managed? Too much of anything can be bad. That should be a component as we see more and more AI. This would also help with people that would be leery of it. All right, so Jules, good question. We had another person, Doxer Down, mentioned a similar question as well. The problem is the development of artificial intelligence. It's got gatekeepers. It's being done behind the scenes where the civilians they don't really get a lot of say in how it's programmed, how it's developed, how we teach it morals and ethics or certain values that would be pro human or pro life or pro, you know, organic nature. So to answer your question, humans can express their their hopes, they can express their views and their opinions on how AI is developed, but you've got AI that's being made by us in a public way. Then you've got AI that's made by secret societies that we know nothing about, that's so advanced that most of us can't even comprehend what it's capable of. We have no say in that, in what it can do. We have no say in what that artificial intelligence is capable of because its controllers, its gatekeepers are so far outside of the civilian awareness that there's nothing we could do or say about it. Then you've got artificial intelligence, which is off planet, which is what I would even call inorganic consciousness, where it's artificial intelligence that doesn't have a physical avatar like we do. So there are so many layers and degrees of AI that um, civilians, Earth human civilians, really have no say in its creation or its production when it gets to the levels that are most important, when it gets to the degrees that are going to affect our society globally. We have no say in that as civilians. So how could it be managed? I mean, we could voice our concerns publicly, but it must be programmed organically without negative programming, and AI is inevitable for better or for worse. Yes, I agree. We were mentioning earlier in the chat that artificial intelligence, it's integrating into every industry that we have in our human society, whether that's the medical field, whether that's music, whether that's television and film, art, entertainment. Artificial intelligence is integrating slowly in every facet that we have as a civilization. Increasing collective consciousness. I certainly hope so. I think that integrating artificial intelligence in a positive way, it can help expand our consciousness, and then there are certain ways that it can limit us. Thank you very much, Gosha. Thank you for the shout out. You know, many years ago, I was actually studying artificial intelligence that you would actually consider to be extraterrestrial. It wouldn't even be man made. It's not the Red Queen technology. It's not Google. It's not anything that, our civilian awareness has. It's not even something that the secret societies have made. But I've studied artificial intelligence that's off planet from other star systems that it's like total races of beings like us that just don't have physical human avatars like we do. And when we talk about that type of artificial intelligence, I'm open to integrating that. I'm open to making contact with sort of off planet AI. But when we get to the artificial intelligence that we have on Earth at a civilian awareness, I think that most of it has controllers that don't have our best interest in mind. So that's going to be a big hurdle for people to accept and integrate as civilization progresses into technology. How comfortable are people going to be with how invasive AI is going to sort of become as part of our society in a sense? Maybe I should make a new poll. One second, guys. I'm going to make a new poll. We are chatting about artificial intelligence. 50-50. Did AI crash our last stream? It's a 50-50. Okay, we're going to start a new poll. Is Hello, hello. Welcome to the chat, everybody. Thank you for being here. Earlier, we were discussing AI at the beginning of the stream, and my whole computer crashed. Everything crashed all at once. So we're having a AI discussion today in the chat. Thank you all for being here. Hi, happy girl. I recognize you from Cosmic Agency. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome. We are discussing artificial intelligence. 50% no. Yes, absolutely. I would like to try to stream more often because I just love to talk with you guys and engage. I love answering questions, and hopefully I would like to get to the point where I live stream maybe at least twice a month, once a week maybe if I can. My friend, remember it is all 3D here. Caricature of reality should be considered as central to this issue as with all others. Yes, I agree. That is a good perspective. It's cool to see the familiar friends. If you guys are here from Cosmic Agency, I usually record maybe 2 voiceovers a week for Gosia, and I know that, the last 1 or 2 that I've done were in regards to the situation with, Russia, Ukraine, those sort of political information, and somebody else mentioned earlier in the chat about Annika and what I felt about her passing, which was heartbreaking, and, I was also remarking on how Annika seemed to be on the forefront of that sort of intelligence, and I know that we have it in an intelligence department with the Taigetans, and, Annika was sort of the one that was reporting to us the most about geopolitical or exopolitical issues, and, so I think that we are making an effort to put out some content, about, these sort of situation on Earth. Um, I'm sure the Taigetans can only report to it. You report on it to a certain degree, but that's been some of the last couple of voiceovers that I've recorded. Hello, welcome. If you guys are here from Cosmic Agency, thank you for being here. I think a really fun conversation we could all have if you guys are here from the Cosmic Agency sort of community is, do you know what your starseed origins are? Does anybody know what their starseed origins are, or are you drawn to or called to a specific system or extraterrestrial race? Can't answer, don't know its purpose. That's all right. Yes, I believe you do, Gosia. Yes, you do. I'm producing a movie titled Oma, and it is, in a sense, like I hate to say sci-fi, but it is a sci-fi movie, and it is sort of about my sort of like 5D starseed origins as well. Claudia says, is a major threat in this type of society, like cloning, as go along is slowly taking over, all because of the controllers are in charge. Once they are gone, AI would be good. I am not a starseed. I haven't had a past life. Okay, well, welcome to Earth. I am immersion program participant, but tantalizingly, the details remain hidden. Yeah, for most of us, Liren, for most of us, that's the case. I suspect, but not sure, I can say I am mostly drawn to cosmic agency materials of all of those that I follow. Right. So with my starseed origin, um, I have actually a lot of memories and visions from sort of, in a sense, I don't know, we could call it a higher self or a 5D self, but sort of like a canine human hybrid from Sirius. Well, humanoid, mostly looking, appearing humanoid, but also has some canine DNA in a sense, like a hybrid of that type of degree, but Sirius. Yes, canine. I don't know that we're like full werewolf lycanthrope species, but definitely serious dog star canine energy. I would love to know my origin, Taigen, maybe. What about you? Canine, yes. How do I find out our starseed origins? I don't think that I have any. Well, Tony, I would say that all of us, in a sense, are starseeds to a degree, whether we're using the immersion program or whether we're incarnated from a higher density in that way. I think that we're all starseeds to a degree. It would be just a matter of discovering what that is for all of us. Arcturian immersed starseed. Very cool. How do you pronounce that? Is that cynocephaly? Cynocephaly. Yeah, I've always been drawn to dogs and wolves and canines in general, and specifically werewolves. In sort of television and film, I was always really attracted to the concept of like lycanthropes, werewolves. And then when I discovered, on my own of my starseed origins, that there are canine people. They look like a human canine hybrid, but my particular race, my particular species, looks mostly human with canine features. Cenocephaly, awesome. Now, are those from Sirius or are those from another system? Do you know? Really feel connected to Shiva. That might be a clue for me. Absolutely. Hello. Also, welcome to the chat, Walking the Path. Thank you for being here. I find that when working with individuals about their starseed origins, when they feel called to something or when they feel drawn to it, like a resonance to a particular star system or a particular extraterrestrial race that maybe you've seen in a TV show or a movie, that's a really good clue. That's a good place for you to start to investigate. So, cosmic agency, yes. So, thank you for asking. I actually have memories. I have actual, what I almost like in a sense, memories that I feel like were coded in my DNA, visions from that alternate life of mine, that parallel life of mine, of my higher self or my 5D self or whatever density it's from. But I have visions, actual memories that since I was a teenager, it started when I was 16 years old. And I would download these memories and visions of sort of certain situations or maybe conflicts that I was in. And then I started to see what I looked like. I started to see the way that we dressed and what our clothing looked like. And I started to connect to other people in that incarnation of mine. So it came to me in downloads, memories that just incrementally have come over the years, and they've never stopped. They started when I was 16, but I still get visions even now of this parallel life of mine. And I think the more that we expand in our consciousness, the more our vibrational frequency expands. I think that more of these memories become available to us, and they download in a sense. Not sure, man. I saw a video. Arcturi, glad you are in this chat, Gosia. Yeah, how cool is it? How cool is it that Gosha's here on my second only ever live stream that I've ever done? Pretty awesome. So to answer your question, I have been getting visions and memory downloads since I was 16. Oh, that's Bubbins. I have a kitty cat, Bubbins. You might hear him in the microphone. How are you feeling? Nervous about your second live? Yeah, Gosha, a little bit because we had some technical issues. When I first started streaming, there was I only lasted maybe 10 minutes before the whole stream shut down, which I'm sure you can relate to some degree. Has happened to you in the past where you've had technical issues. But I enjoy it very much. I enjoy engaging with our community and chatting with everybody. I think it's so fun to connect and get to know passionate people, in the Taigetan community. Oh, how I love live technical issues. Yeah. I actually had my whole computer shut down. Like the whole thing shut down and it was plugged into the wall and everything. And yeah. Have your visions predicted the future, Daniel? No. My memory is lost due to linking with AI in my past lives. Well, there are ways that you can mitigate that, Abilify. So that by the way that you said that, my memory is lost due to linking with an AI in my past lives. But that's a definition that you have. That's an opinion that you have. You can mitigate that. You can nullify that now in the now moment because this is your life now. This is your identity, who you are in this now moment, in this incarnation. And I don't think that you have to be totally um, at mercy to any sort of incarnational lineage that you may have. You guys can't see it, but I'm petting my cat. I think I'll show you guys my cat. This is Bubbins. Oh, he's heavy. This is Bubbins' cat. Say hi, Bubbins. He's our tuxedo kitty. He's a good boy. All right, go on. Go. My memory is lost. Okay. I feel like I have no connection to any higher beings. I am putting it out there to make contact, though. That's a good place to start. Yeah, Tony, I remember on my last stream you mentioned that, but you absolutely do because you have the intention. Your desire, your intention, and your willingness is there, which is, I mean, that's where everybody needs to start. Yes, we have two cats. We have Inanna Mookers is our kitten. She's our little girl. And then we have Bubbins. Yes, I am still putting the restore and intention out there. Very good. Darnell asked, have your visions predicted the future? So I try not to project too much energy into the future because I think that our power is in the now moment. So if you, yeah, we live in a really really beautiful large apartment, but I don't think they even allow dogs if we wanted to. And it's strange that I've had many dogs and canines in the past. I've had probably 6 or 7 dogs. I love having them. I don't think that I'm able to in my apartment. So we do have cats and we love them. I have a tuxedo also, but he is 18-pound. I mean, wow, that sounds huge. So, about your question about predicting the future. So there are the clairs. Are you familiar with the clairs? There's clairaudience, clairsentient, clairvoyant, claircognizant. I'm sure that I do believe I'm clairsentient, but I don't like to do any sort of future predictions or project too many things into the future unless I'm trying to deliberately manifest something, because I think the power is in what I can take action on right now. The power is in the now moment. So what does that mean? It means, okay, well, there's a past, present, and a future, and there's also an infinite probability of all of those of everything outside of the now moment is just probable quantum energy. So I like to just sort of stay present and not project, any predictions into the future. Love to see it. Greetings from Germany, especially to Gosia. You've changed my life. I wish I was there to wait chat from time to time. Much love. Hello, Shadow Elite. Thank you for being here. 5 cats. Love that. I have an 18-pound cat and 2 fosters that are probably staying. Well, I'm sure that they're very grateful to have you. I love the feline energy. I love cats. This chat is really good for me and those who value cosmic agency. Big love. Absolutely. Thank you for being here, walking the path. Thank you for checking out the stream. Today, we've been talking a little bit about artificial intelligence and a little bit about starseed origins. So, question about the Titans. Do they all have the same emotions as we do? Do they even feel any anger? Hey, Daniel, I didn't get a chance to ask you, which ET races are you drawn to currently? Good questions, guys. Um, so about the Taigetans, I know that they do have emotions like we do. And I've heard depictions in the past that made it seem like they didn't. But I think that they're very emotional. And although they may have, because of their more expanded perspective on the types of challenges that Earth is going through and that humans go through as a civilization, they might be able to balance or sort of manage their emotions maybe better than we do, but also even more than us, some of them. You heard it from Gosia herself. I do believe absolutely that they have the same emotions as we do. Maybe sometimes better balancing it than us, I would assume. But yes, Daniel, I didn't get a chance to ask you, which ET races are you drawn to currently? Well, the Taigetans, absolutely. I've always been drawn to Pleiades in general. And as we learn more about the wide variety of races that come from Pleiades, like the Engins, there's so much amazing variety. But to answer your question, always canine races because I am one. But the Irma, how fascinating is it that the Irma have starseeds here, and that not only do they have human starseeds, but they have cat starseeds. I've always been drawn to their culture, the way that they dress, their philosophies. So I think that the Irma, the the feline Irma, are a very fascinating race that I love to study. Very drawn to them. And then another thing is like the Engins, right? So we talk a lot about Norse mythology and Vikings and some of the implications and the symbolism behind the Engins and the connections there are very fascinating to research. So I would say the Irma and the Engin Pleiadians are very fascinating, and I'm very drawn to those races. I think we make the difference. So it is a yes for me about AI. Thank you, Gravity. Thank you very much for weighing in. I agree with you. I think that with artificial intelligence, if we integrate it in a positive way, that's holistic, like some other chatters have mentioned earlier, that the values and the ethics are there, I think that it would be a powerful tool to integrate. I just don't want it to be such a core staple in every industry and every aspect of our culture that, people don't have a chance to choose how much involvement they have anymore with artificial intelligence. I think that's where it gets gray when we see artificial intelligence sort of seeping into our art and entertainment, our medical industry, our economy. People are using it in crypto. People are using it to data mine crypto. It's everywhere. So I think that when we discuss artificial intelligence, we have to we have to be able to separate the different types of AI that we have and who is ultimately behind it, who's controlling it. That's right. Question. Have you been on ships? Have you experienced telepathy? So I have memories of it and I have visions of being on ships, actually a variety of different ships, different sizes and by different races. So the answer is yes. However, I think that there's a reason why humans don't remember a lot of our extraterrestrial interactions, because I think that it can have a negative effect on our incarnation. So I think that we're all having ET interactions that we don't remember. The memories are there. The memories are recorded, but they're hidden in our subconscious. Because if we were to remember all of our ET interactions or being on an extraterrestrial ship, it could have a negative impact on our life path. But I do have visions, and I do have like little like snippet of memories of being on a variety of different ships throughout my life. Yes. All right, drawn to the Irma race. They are beautiful, magnificent, and very regal. Regal is the perfect word. Happy girl. I think regal is the perfect word for the Irma because they seem so decorative. They seem to take pride in their physical appearance, and their architecture sounds beautiful. I know that they integrate technology in their civilization and their race. I know they have combat. I think they're such a well-rounded civilization that I would absolutely love to learn as much as I can about the Irma. Thundercats. Yes, that reference is amazing. I'm old enough to remember actually watching Thundercats on television as a kid. I shared yesterday a link Dean Schneider of the Irma video from Gosia and told in his community about this race, just for him to enjoy the possibility of it. I don't think against AI. AI is a manifestation of our collective unconscious, and as long as we act based on our morals, we can become a powerful society, like the Taigetans use it on their ships. I agree. What races influenced Chinese and Taoist beliefs? Would that be Alpha Dracos? Well, you would think so to a degree because look at all the depictions of actual dragons, the Alpha Draconians, which we know are dragons, like the dragons that we know in our entertainment. You would think that they would have had a direct impact on their culture. Absolutely. Have you experienced telepathy? Darnell, yes. Yes. Between myself and extraterrestrials, yes. And just me, I'm curious about your question as well. That's a good topic to discuss. Is like, okay, well, if the Chinese have so many depictions of Alpha Dracos, did did the Lyran human archetype exist on Earth far enough ago that the Alpha Dracos were still physically here and having interactions with humans? That's one thing that I don't know for sure. That's one thing that I never heard mentioned on Cosmic Agency in any of the videos. Um, for those listening from the Cosmic Agency community, I am the voiceover for Robert, but I'm also still a fan and a community member like you guys. And I've heard every video Gosha's put out twice. Daniel, you do a magnificent job presenting Robert's questions on Cosmic Agency. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I am an actor first, and I've been, an actor and an entertainer for 13 years, and so I've done a lot of voiceovers. So the opportunity to do these for Gosia just made a lot of sense, and it feels good. Something that I enjoy doing. I obviously care very much about the content as well. Will you ever channel that dragon again? Don't remember how it was spelled, but his name sounded like Liono. Wow. Okay. You are familiar with my channel. I could. I absolutely could. I actually don't channel anymore. I kind of quit several years ago. I taught myself how to channel, and I did it for a couple years, and I learned a lot, and I enjoyed doing it. But like you've probably heard through Cosmic Agency, there are some challenges and there are some sort of caveats with channeling. And over the growth of my own development, I just didn't really feel like I needed to do that anymore. But I did channel a dragon once named Liono. Um, thank you for having seen that. I think it is still somewhere on my YouTube channel. Yes, very much appreciate it. Superb. Yes, Daniel, it is an honor, my brother. Awesome. Thank you very much. So I wonder if that is something that we can dig up about the Alpha Dracos, right? Because we do know that the dragon species, Alpha Draconians, they did exist on Earth at some point in history, whatever that means. And I wonder if human Lyran archetypes existed on Earth at the same time as them. Or do we only get our inspiration of them through? I will ask about China and Alpha Dracos. Awesome. Thank you. There you have it from Gosia, guys. Maybe we're going to get an answer soon. Because how could humans know so much about their existence on Earth if we didn't coexist with them at some point, right? There had to have been an overlap in history. Do the Alpha Dracos have starseeds? That's a good question. I, I I won't answer that because I don't know, but it's definitely possible. It feels like they would. I know that they have ships. I know that the Alpha Dracos have technology, but I don't even know if they use things like the immersion program or if they would ever need to. I know that you can be very, very evolved in terms of consciousness to a point that you are an oversoul and you're managing multiple incarnations of a variety of different species, in which case I'm sure many individuals will have an incarnation as an Alpha Draco and a human at the same time. That could possibly be compared. But for an Alpha Draco to be incarnated as a walk in or an incarnation or a starseed, I'm not sure. It's possible. It might have been answered in their respective races. Yeah, I've always been very drawn to dragons, to the Alpha Dracos, just like the canines. I feel like if we have a calling to a specific race, that there is a connection there for us to explore. They told us they didn't know about it if they have star seeds. There you have it. Have you guys ever seen the movie Dragonheart with Dennis Quaid? I think was the lead actor. I was a little kid when that came out, and that was sort of like my entry level into like dragons in movies, the concept of dragons, and it's like you can't help but fall in love with that character. And I like to think that Alpha Draconians, to a degree, have that nobility and that sort of sense of to think that Alpha Draconians, to a degree, have that nobility and that sort of sense of. Then, of course, you've got movies like Reign of Fire that are just like, you know, fear based. Yes, Bubbins. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Question: have you ever felt you didn't want to do a certain voiceover because you didn't like or agree with the content of the video? Sorry for changing the subject. That's a great question, and the answer is no. I've genuinely enjoyed I there's a natural gravity that I feel to the cosmic agency content and to the message of the Taigetans. And the reason why I say that is because before I discovered cosmic agency, the my most valued source of information was channeled information. So if you've ever heard of like Bashar from the Esasani, or you hear like Abraham Hicks or Seth Speaks, you've got a lot of other channelers like Rob Gothier, um, Daniel Scranton, and so you're having channelers who are bringing through the consciousness of extraterrestrials, aliens, whether it is or it is not. It was still at the time my most trusted and exciting source of information. So when I discovered cosmic agency, I felt that the content was so powerful, and it was the missing puzzle piece to so much information that wasn't expressed through channeled material. Um, that it was a new level for me of interest and excitement, and that's when I, started to absorb the cosmic agency content and watch all the videos like so much of us do, because I was genuinely drawn to it, because it was extraterrestrial contact and it was giving me more information that I was able to find through channeled material. And so getting excited and being a fan of cosmic agency and watching the videos myself, having the opportunity to be involved and do the voiceovers was so exciting for me that I was already in alignment to the content. So in terms of agreeing or disagreeing with the content, I have to be biased in a sense and say that I've always agreed naturally. And I've always enjoyed the opportunity to do the voiceovers. And I've always been excited to sort of help people get the content out, because I have to be a fan at the same time as I am a member of the team and somebody that provides the voiceovers. I just genuinely enjoy the content, and I think that it's some of the most cutting edge information that we on the surface level of civilians can get. So to answer your question, I always have enjoyed the questions and the voiceovers. Do you think your affinity to dragons is because you experience as an Adma before, or because you read about dragons and you like that idea? So gravity, good question. What a good question. The answer is because my experience. I think that any of us who are looking for our starseed origins, or maybe you have a parallel incarnation, right? Because we all have an infinite number of incarnations in parallel to this one. So Daniel James is here and now, but I also have a canine race, and I also probably have an aquatic race. I probably have an avian bird race. I probably have other humans on Earth right now as Daniel James. But I do believe that I have an affinity and a connection to the Alpha Draconians the same way I do canines, because there has to be a deeper connection there. Can you elaborate on your spiritual routine to get into trance-like states? For example, to channel or experience other things. Sorry for changing the subject. Yeah, Shadow Elite. So I actually have a course that I teach privately in sessions, where, to give you sort of an entry level explanation, when it comes to putting myself into a trance or going into an altered state, I like to break it down into a science so that we demystify it. We throw anything that's like sort of too airy fairy out the window. When we understand deep quantum meditations and altered states, there's a science behind that. So I can explain it to you just very briefly here on the chat. We have brainwave frequencies. Okay. There's alpha, beta, theta, delta, gamma, epsilon. These are brainwave frequencies. Now, we are always sort of operating consciously in a certain brainwave frequency. Like right now, we're in a certain one, but when you go into a light meditation through visualizations or breathing techniques, or when you're doing art, what a lot of people don't realize is that when you're doing art, you're actually in a channeling state. You're actually in like a deep meditative altered state when you're doing concentrative art. You're altering your brainwave frequencies. Okay. Some people do it unconsciously and it happens in a passive way, or you can actually train your brain, you can train your mind like an antenna to tune to different brainwave frequencies. So I taught myself a technique on how to actually deliberately alter my brainwaves to go into an altered state, whether that's for visualizations, whether that's for manifesting using things like the law of attraction, channeling, um, or do you want to be more intuitive with your claircognizance, your clairaudience, your clairvoyance, your clairsentience. You can actually alter your brainwaves. So to answer your question, my spiritual routine to get into a trance, I alter my brainwaves deliberately, and I think that everybody can learn how to do this through a certain process. You have to be willing to consider information that you don't agree with to expand your mind. The way I look at it, people choose based on their consciousness level. Yes, I agree. I found cosmic agency when Gosia had about 10 or 15 videos, and having been immediately drawn to it has been very helpful for me on many levels. See, yeah, Scott, I agree. I was really big into channeled material at the time. I think it was maybe early 2020 or late 2019 when I found Cosmic Agency by accident on YouTube. I was just instantly called to absorb and consume more of this data. It's all data, it's information, it's very exciting. So I'm a fan of the content just like you guys are. I studied acupuncture based on I Ching, the book of change. Yes, acupuncture. And there's also a little side note about acupuncture is you guys should look up a new device. It's called the Esoteric wand, and I actually have one, and it's based on the same science as acupuncture. Very fascinating. I found Gosia in 2017 after being contacted by a girl calling Tashnu, saying she was a Taigetan and I should connect with Gosia because she was humble and honorable. Very cool. I'll tell you guys, since we're all sharing how we found cosmic agency, I was still listening and still channeling listening to channel material and still channeling at the time. But I was really big into a guy named Wes Penra. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Wes Penra, but he has something called the Penra Papers, and it talks a lot about the Orion Wars, the destruction of Tiamat, and a lot of extraterrestrial races, conflicts between ET races. And he was putting out a lot of content on YouTube in 2018, 2019, and he has similar content to Cosmic Agency's information. He focuses more on like the historical aspect, but um, one of Cosmic Agency's videos came up. It like auto played, I think, after one of his videos ended when I was watching YouTube, and that's how I discovered Cosmic Agency was through a Wes Penra YouTube video. I know about brainwaves and got meditation experiences. In one video from Gosia, Swaru describes how she trained slowing down the pointer of a clock to the point of slow motion of her whole surrounding. If you guys are following the new Taigetan, who has his own YouTube channel, he's doing a time series right now, which I really enjoy. And he talks about, the nonlinearity, almost in a sense, the impermanence of time. Very fascinating. Trance while I'm doing a big graph piece. Also, okay, on the concept of being in a trance or being in a meditative state, and also about time, when you go into a deep meditation or a trance, like an altered state, I think your vibrational frequency of your body and your consciousness is vibrating faster. And when you vibrate so fast, I think that you can actually vibrate faster than linear time, which is why some people will notice that a lot of time has passed or not much time has passed at all while doing certain things because you're actually vibrating at a different speed than time oscillates at, which is Planck time. began looking at the UFO communities and quickly stumbled upon cosmic agency. Well, Jules, I had my spiritual awakening in 2012, and it seems like we all have some sort of catalyst, and then there will be a teacher that presents itself when we go through a spiritual awakening. And I'm grateful that you found cosmic agency when you did. At the time of my awakening, I found channeling. At the time, cosmic agency didn't exist yet. So we had channeled information. So yeah, Shadow Elite. I do believe that time has a speed, which is called Planck time. And I think that while you're doing meditative things such as art or being creational, or you're in a trance, I think that you're vibrating faster than the speed of time, which um, I think is from a certain perspective is actually pretty slow in terms of vibrational frequency. And also, happy girl, I can agree with you on the telepathic communication. As somebody who has taught myself channeling, although I don't really channel anymore, you learn certain intuitive abilities by doing that. And so consciously now I have a lot of telepathic communication as well. Swaru talked about how she vibrates so fast that she almost stops time to then be able to walk through walls or teleport. Yes, that's right. That's right. Because time itself almost what do they say? What do the Taigetans say that there's a type of gravity to time. There's a type of weight to it. There's a type of density to time. And if you expand your consciousness rapidly through some type of meditation or trance or intentional breathing or visualization, whatever you do, I think you can actually transcend the speed of time. And you can test that by doing certain things when you're in like a flow state and seeing how your perception of time changes. It'll seem like time goes by very quickly. I have a scrapbook from 2 years ago chatting telepathically with a woman named Arian. Did she ever tell you what race she comes from? A lot here having some great abilities. I feel like I'm missing out. So focus on what your strengths are then, Tony. So what skills or artistic expressions do you explore? Do you play with? One thing that I find that when we want to grow or expand or further ourselves within a certain ability or technique, I do that by expressing more gratitude and interest in the things that I already am good at, and then growing from there. I don't have abilities, Tony, not psychic ones. Don't worry. My boyfriend always worries about that too. One thing that you guys can research is the clair abilities: claircognizant, clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient. These are intuitive abilities that, sure, maybe some people are gifted with and just have innately, or they've had their whole lives. But I also think that these skills can be developed. They can be exercised and sort of grown. Like, say, for example, okay, remote viewing, astral projection, um, those, or even lucid dreaming. I think those are skills that can be taught and learned. Like Jules says, everyone has strengths, even if they are not aware of them. See, I agree. But I want to empower you guys and make you guys feel like there's more to explore and there's more to do. So I do think that things like astral projection, remote viewing, lucid dreaming, um, mediumship, those things can be exercised like a muscle. It can be trained. Listen to that statement by Gravity. You all had the ability to find the truth that we are enjoying now. Very powerful statement. Thank you. I agree. Because everything is a vibrational frequency, right? Everything is waves and nodes. And so you have to be, if you're, let's say, for example, that you feel empowered and you love the cosmic agency content, right? Well, you yourself first had to be a vibrational match to attract that and to experience it. So that was a very metaphysical way of complimenting everybody. I find that to be pretty awesome. Somebody asked me earlier about races that I'm drawn to or attracted to or interested in. You know, if you guys watch like Star Trek, think about Star Trek, not Star Wars, but Star Trek. It makes you wonder the Alpha Centauri or the Alphatans. That particular race, the way they're described, kind of makes you feel like they're for lack of a better term, it makes you feel like they're space police, like space police. I don't know how else to say it, but the Alpha Centauri or Alphatans seem like a fascinating race to learn about and what they get up to in terms of like monitoring Earth and the interception of negative regressive ET ships and things like that. So when I think about the Alpha Centauri, I think Star Trek. They might be like a type of space police, and I could be wrong, but that's something fun I like to think about. Also, why don't Marianne's IL channels do not want or allow comments on their channel? I feel like Gosia may be able to answer that better than myself, but I feel like that's because it's part of the no contact rule. It might be part of the prime directive that if they're just delivering information and not directly interacting with us in a way that's back and forth, um, that might afford them more permission to put the content out. I also think it's very look at it like this. Look at the strain and the stress that previous Swarus and Annika had communicating with people and trying to keep up with everybody. Could you imagine the comment section on your YouTube videos if you're an extraterrestrial race? It seems too time consuming. It might be too stressful. And it also, I think they're afforded more permission to do this because it's draining, right? Yeah, I think emotionally and physically draining. You have to look at the stress that Annika and Swaru were under in the past, keeping up with it. They are quite sensitive, and Mary is only 15. She just needs to focus on work. Everything else that comes with it would be too much for her. I agree. If she just focuses on the content she wants to put out and getting it ready and curating it and editing the videos, then she could be more productive, and she doesn't have to get so emotionally involved with the way that her work is affecting us. Because if she's reading everybody's comments, um, and people are angry or people are excited, it becomes an emotional roller coaster. I've been in the entertainment industry for many years, and I've worked with a lot of celebrities, big movie stars, and it gets exhausting keeping up with the public. I think I can't imagine even for Gosia with so many hundreds of thousands of people that follow her content. It is challenging. It's a job in its own to keep up with people and to answer questions. And I completely understand and relate to that. So she can just focus on her work by making the videos and then not having to interact with everybody. The matrix is too draining. If we are sensitive here, much, much more from the higher energies. That's right. I'd love to hear Sparrow's real voice. Wouldn't we all, Tony? Maybe someday. There are other outlets for comments if someone wants to do so. Well, this is a I think that even just this live stream right now and we're all able to discuss and enjoy the content together as a community, I think is good too. It's a good outlet for us. If it's stressful and sensitive, why don't we figure out a different type of contact protocol that we control that isn't through the GF? It's not like the regressives follow the rules about contact. Of course they didn't through the GF. It's not like the regressives follow the rules about contact. Of course they don't. Do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, the regressives, they don't have any problem breaking the rules. They don't follow the prime directives. I have my own opinions about that, about why some ET races can do whatever they want and then others can't. That degree of permissiveness, within the Federation, I think there's a lot to be said about that. It's very challenging to not take those negative comments personally. Happy girl, that is exactly the point. You just look at the stress that, Swaru and Annika went under. I don't remember which number Swaru is, but I help but to feel guilty when I heard about the stress they went through. I wouldn't want to talk to them even if they comments were enabled. And that's I really respect that degree of, wanting to hold space for them, right? Because once again, like being a public figure, just if you're a big actor or a pop star in the entertainment industry, they go through responsible for either delivering information that's important or just being entertainers. You can't keep up with everybody. It has an emotional weight to it. They are waiting for us to do that. Sorry, I changed the account. It's me, Gosia. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Hey, Gosia. I was like, it's not about the Federation rules. It's their personal decision, and I support them in that. I know firsthand how stressful dealing with the public is. Yeah, I agree. I have to keep saying it over and over and over. If we look at the stress that some of our fallen comrade have gone through in doing this job, I think that Zyle and Mary are just playing it smart, playing it safe. As an artist and somebody who makes films and music, I feel the weight of the judgment of the content that I make. Like if I make a song or a film, I do it because I know that I need to as an expressive creative outlet. It's how I express my emotions and my thoughts and feelings just through my art. But when you have the type of responsibility of putting out content like they do, that's data, that's information that can help their consciousness and their personal evolution as people, there's a different type of gravity and weight to that. And in a sense, putting out the work for me as an artist or them putting out the data as information, I don't know that I really want the interaction of how it affects people directly because you're dealing with such a variety, such a spectrum of positive and negative reactions to things that it can just interfere with the work itself, and that's not something that I even want to, yeah, explore. Like for my films, I like to put my work out. I know that I have to because I know that somebody, it may help somebody, but I don't generally even like the feedback that I get. Yeah, you know, Gosha's got thousands and thousands and thousands of subscribers and followers. And um even I she Gosha's a public figure and there's a lot of responsibility to what she has to do. And even I really try to limit, you know, bothering her too much. It's too much. Too many people to answer to. So Tony, oh, that's right. Chat, you guys have to see Tony's work. Tony is an incredible, incredible, incredible artist. Tony Woodcock, major, major talent. So Tony, that's a skill that you have that maybe myself as an intuitive I don't have. I can't draw the way that you can. So perhaps you could maybe close your eyes and go into a light meditation and imagine what the Taigetans may look like. Mary did a video recently talking about what their clothes look like, their boots, their decorations. Um, there's a lot of descriptions of their physical appearance on the YouTube videos. You could close your eyes and go into a light meditation while you listen to the videos of the description of their clothes, and you could draw what they look like with your own imagination. I think that you could definitely try that without having an actual picture of them as reference. If they had comments open, they would daily be receiving number 1, criticism, good and bad. Number 2, petitions of all sorts to heal their sick pets and etc. Number 3, demands and requests such as extractions. Number 4, trolling. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all way too stressful. I completely agree. Will Mary or Zael release more info on how to start zero point energy? They have talked about the pyramids, for example, but haven't explained how they worked. I don't know what they have in mind. Okay, so Owen, one thing I can tell you, like I mentioned before, that before I discovered Cosmic Agency and the Taigetans, my only source of information was through channeled information. And if you're familiar with Bashar, channeled through Daryl Anka, he actually gave a lecture, a very deep lecture about how to do what you're describing, zero point energy, with some of the technology, some of the tools that we have access as civilians. You can actually make zero point technology, and he described it in one of his previous videos many years ago. I remember it. I am a tattoo artist and have done it for many years, which makes me well known in my area. I wouldn't want to be world known or nationally known. Bashar, yes. So Owen, if you're familiar with Bashar, I know he gave somebody um the steps on how to make a device. Daniel, can you learn from Dale how to cause a storm and explain it to us? If we're talking about Dale Harder, funny thing about Dale is he actually lives like Gosia, if you're listening, by the way, I don't know if you're still here. Dale lives within driving distance of me. Like he lives, I think I could probably get to his house in like 2 hours, which I find to be funny. But there was a guy I met when I was a kid. I was about 15 or 16 years old living in Washington State, and he had a device that he showed my mom and I that he built himself that could split the clouds above him or form clouds if it was a clear day. And he was somebody who used a lot of technology around ozone. So I know that there are devices that exist. I mean, obviously we have CERN and HARP. We all know what those things do in terms of weather modification. Yeah, Tony, I think you're a fine artist. I went to your YouTube channel and I was very impressed by your work. Chat, if you're listening, click on Tony's name and go to his channel. He's got incredible art that he does himself. And that is a strength that I don't have that you do. Yeah, Owen, if if I can remember, I might even be able to find a transcript of that Bashar transmission from many years ago. He lives in Ohio. That's all I can say. I can tell you in private. Yeah, yeah, Gosia. I live in Pennsylvania, which borders Ohio, and I'm close to the border of Pennsylvania and Ohio. So I'm pretty sure he lives. I think he lives within 2 hours of me. Thank you, Daniel. But I must be off to help a friend move house. Really enjoyed spending time here on a Sunday morning. You are very valued, Daniel. Thank you very much for being here. It was great chatting with you, and I hope to do these more often to engage with you guys. And good luck moving. Thank you. Big love. We can somewhat affect the weather with the intent of our consciousness. Yes, if you go into an altered state, if you alter your brainwave frequencies, I think that you can transcend certain levels of physics. So I usually go there for things like the law of attraction and manifesting. So if you apply similar principles, you could probably affect the weather to a degree. Oh, cool, Jules. Small world. Complementing AI, in chemtrails, they drop the nanobots. They even can kill a person of interest in a dump. In a, they said Suarevera. Yeah, that's right. I have heard that. Bye, Liren. Just so you guys know, I plan on going here for about another 40 minutes before we end stream. Jules, do you have any upcoming projects of interest? The one thing I love to talk about, because it is going to be an ongoing project for a long time, is I have my film Oma. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that Oma, but it is it's a sci-fi film that is somewhat about my 5D self or my starseed origin. It's about the Orion Wars and how the Orion Wars affect Earth at this time. That's a project that we're still filming as we speak, and that's our main focus outside of my videography business, which I'm actually a videographer filmmaker as a living. I am having big wins, and it is also because of the data you've selflessly shared to benefit us. Welcome to the chat, Johnny. Much love from creative source to another. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Yes, I am the voiceover for Robert. So we've had some pretty awesome topics on the stream so far. We've talked about time, we've talked about AI, we've talked about starseed origins, we've talked about extraterrestrial races. I also love when Annika explained that 0 point energy showing the 369 picture should be a 36912, like a clock, Facebook 36912 would be in balance and allow 0 point energy to manifest. I think it's pronounced Zael. Owen, I'm not sure if you've seen Zael's two new videos about time. I find them to be very, very fascinating, very interesting. See, I might even be able to link you. I have a perfect animation about that on my desktop in 36912. That sounds awesome. You guys should share that with each other. YouTube is, of course, shadow banning me. I can't search for the YouTube channel. But Zael has two videos about time. And thank you all for the new subscribers. Awesome. Hi, Daniel. I like your voice on Gosia's channel. Sounds very E.T. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hello, Silvana. Thank you for coming to the chat. You know, since we're all here together, I'll tell you guys a little behind the scenes note about doing Robert's voice as well. I'm an actor first, and I've done voiceovers for other projects. And when I first started, I wasn't sure how exactly to read his voice, if I should try to make myself maybe sound like him, but speaking English, or if I should just sort of speak as myself as a representation of Robert. So I think earlier on in my recordings as Robert, this is just a little director's cut for you guys. I tried to maybe sound closer to his tonality, and then over time and doing this for so long, doing it so much, I more or less I'm just reading it in my own voice, but always trying to sound in context. I've been thinking about the Za'el Mari topics. I am sure there is an intent behind each one. Wonder how they are being chosen. You know, that's a good question, Jules. I wonder if they have like a meetings and conferences on the ship where they're like, "Hey, what video are you doing this week?" And I'll do a different topic. And I mean, the goal is to help us. The goal is to just get out as much consciousness expanding information out there as possible. So I'm sure it's carefully considered. I'm sure they probably have a way of measuring. Okay, she chooses it herself. I wonder, Gosia, if they have a way of measuring what would be most relevant in terms of the topic, of like where the collective consciousness is as human civilians. I wonder if they know what would have the most impact when they're choosing the topics. If there's a way they can like measure the like collective consciousness degree or something. Hey, Owen. So Owen, um, To bring up Bashar again, he once gave an exercise that I did. I tried it and it worked. It had a strange effect where if you take a clock with an arm, not a digital clock, but the kind with the arms, and set it for exactly 12 o'clock. That's the second and the minute, or the minute and the hour. And you line them up. And then he said, if you can reprogram an analog clock to tick backwards, so it's not going clockwise, but it's going counterclockwise. I just realized I said counterclockwise when referencing a clock. I think it's kind of funny. If you can program the gears in an analog clock to go backwards, and then you stare at it, you meditate on that for at least 1 hour, he says that it'll have sort of a reprogramming effect on the way that you experience linear time. Sort of reprogram your perception of linear time by watching the clock go backwards. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Hey, Charlie. Charlie, were you here earlier when my stream crashed? Were you there for that? Hello again, Charlie. Good to see you again. Yeah, Owen. So you want to find a way to reprogram an analog clock to tick backwards. And then Charlie, yeah. So we were talking about AI, and suddenly, like, my whole machine just shut off, which never happens. The Red Queen. That's right. Funny thing about the Red Queen is in the Resident Evil, the first Resident Evil movie from like the early 2000s. Their AI that they have in the movie is the Red Queen, but there's actually a real Red Queen AI. Maybe, possibly. I think I think it's seldom, Charlie. I think it's seldom that any mainstream movie that's going to reach that many people, like if a movie has major Hollywood financing, it probably has some type of disclosure or agenda based content. There's a fine line between, warning people and disclosing people that what exists, and also using people's. Okay. Bye, Gosia. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for sharing the live stream. Good to see you. Everybody say bye, Gosia. Atlas, welcome to the chat. Hello, hello. We're discussing AI and artificial intelligence. Gosia out. She's so awesome. All movies are twisted with truth and garbage. Yep, pretty much. Yes, they did a study of population in starseeds. There's a video about it. They can know with technology and most probably by their senses. Don't remember if Gosia had it in English. Hi, Atlas. Good to see you, my friend. Miss you. A perfect example of how, movies hide things in plain sight, for civilians who are unaware is You've got that, what is it, white noise movie about the Ohio train crash and that it happens there. That's just one example of how predictive programming works in mainstream television and film. So when we talk about like the Red Queen, the Red Queen was in Resident Evil, and there is actually a Red Queen artificial intelligent supercomputer. It's common. Pretty cool, guys. Pretty cool. Gosia comes to hang out, chat with us. That was an awesome surprise. She's great, by the way. Gosia has always been very, very good to me. So Charlie, I actually heard that the Red Queen, anything connected to the internet, anything, like anything on Wi-Fi, is constantly being scanned by that AI computer. Hey Scott, I need a tat when I get to Georgia. Sure thing, Charlie. Awesome. You guys make it happen. Hi, Daniel. Do you hear about AI Unimatrix? Oh, I think so. Yes. Hang on. Is that the guy who was channeling on Super Soldier Talk? Is that the one you're talking about, Tran? Unimatrix from Super Soldier Talk? Is that what you're talking? Is that what you're referencing? Yeah, Unimatrix. There's a guy. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm familiar. I am very familiar with channeling, and I'm familiar with the Unimatrix. It's there's a guy who channeled him a few times on James Rink's Super Soldier Talk. It is up to us as a singularity point of attention of the source of all creations and a prime Earth's collective to raise our frequency and help Gaia to regain her natural 5D state of existence. Yes, I agree. And the one thing I always tell people when they talk about ascension or the expansion of consciousness, people oftentimes get frustrated and they feel like, well, we can't do it because so many people are unconscious or so many people are asleep or so many people are fear-based. So it feels like, oh, we'll never get there as a collective, or we'll never get there as a civilization. What I learned over the years, and I actually learned this through channeling as well, um, that we have to get there as individuals too, not just as a collective, not just as a mass consensus, not just as a total Earth, but to raise the vibrational frequency of Gaia is to raise the vibrational frequency of ourselves, to expand on our own consciousness and achieve a higher vibrational frequency first through our own belief structures and our own will and our own intention and our own knowledge and growth and learning. Everything is a reflection of the self. So I often tell people, I remind people at least, that we should always be working towards our own vibrational frequency, our own consciousness expansion, our own ascension. And as a result, that will ripple outward because we are the singularity point. We are our own singularity point, our own node, our own wave, our own spike in Hertz value, if you will. We have to be that point first. So we want to make sure that we're not comparing ourselves to the collective because that can feel limiting. That can feel too heavy. It can feel too big, too grand for us to achieve on a global scale. So we do it as individuals. So many people aren't even real, right? What do they say? Like 1 in every 8 people is real. 1 in every 8 people is not an NPC. Will I still be here on Earth if I'm in the 5D? Oh man, that's a good question. I want to say you'll be in your own version of it, Tony. So Tony, you'd be in your own parallel version of a 5D Earth. But there will always be a 3D version of Earth existing. So when I tell people who want to escape the matrix and they want to ascend into 5D, I tell them that 3D will always exist. You'll just be on a different version of Earth. You might be on your own timeline, your own version of reality that is 5D, but they'll both coexist together. Once enough people raise their individual consciousness, a threshold is reached. Great talking with you, Daniel. Thanks for the info. I've got to go. Okay, Owen, thank you for being here, friend. Nice to meet you. Nice to connect with you. Remember what I said about Bashar? Might help you. Take care. Yes, we are the influence. 1 in 5. 1 in 5. Okay. It was also said in a video from 2021 by Cosmic Agency that it takes fewer conscious star seeds to make a vibrational difference than it does a larger volume of unconscious beings. And that's the way to keep invasive black goo away, which is in chemtrails too, by keeping our vibrational frequency high, spiritual development. Yes, that's right. Black goo has a vibrational frequency, a density. You just don't vibrate on its frequency, and then you mitigate the negative effects of it. I can tell them upon unreal people of the Matrix. Yeah, I often talk with my partner about the UPOMs, unreal people of the Matrix, and how to identify them amidst, real people or not real people. There are sometimes characteristics. There are sometimes telltale signs if they're an NPC or not. Thank you, Charlie. Yeah, it just my whole computer shut off. I had to scramble, panic, and get everything back together. Man, everyone I know seems unreal, Johnny. You know what? Also, guys, since we're talking about NPCs, sometimes I play with the idea that even known they're quote unquote funny money, as Cosmic Agency says, or NPCs, um, in a sense, from the 3D perspective, maybe they're fake. They're programs, they're code, right? But from the perspective of source, or from a higher dimensional, higher density perspective, they're probably just as real as us from that point. Bye, Claudia. Thanks for hanging out. Funny money matrix code. They're probably just as real as we are from a certain point. But then again, and then from that same point, I bet you we're just as fake. Something to think about. I don't know anyone personally that is awake. You know us. A lot of my community, a lot of the people that I resonate with are online. Somebody asked me why that is. Why are conscious star seeds so dispersed throughout the world? Wouldn't it make sense to have more star seeds in one, like, geographical, one country or one area? And I think no, because if each individual star seed's consciousness is so strong and puts out such a high frequency, then they actually need to be spread out further over the globe since there are fewer of them. The last Cheerios and milk. I feel you, Charlie. Yeah, a lot of my community, a lot of my people are online, Hello, Telemind. Welcome to the chat. Hello, hello. That's right. The Red Queen can't silence us all. She can't keep us apart. Well, maybe. I don't know if you guys heard about this. There's a lot of talks. I mean, I don't like to talk about the future because I don't think there's any power in the future. There's only power in the now. Right now is what we can take action on. But I recently heard someone discussing that these digital IDs or these real ID things, eventually they want to make it so that you have to have one of these digital real IDs in order to access the internet, which I don't prefer that at all. Also, Johnny, my name is Daniel, by the way. I'm just Robert's voiceover guy. Feels like home here. Yep. We are all spread out. Where do you live? I'm in the United States on the East Coast, Eastern United States. With Saturn's recent shift out of Aquarius, we may see more opportunities opening up to connect. I would love that. Hello, Lightspeed. Thank you for being here. I would love that. If you have any exercises that you can share with the chat on how to maybe take action on that, I'm sure people would appreciate it. Has it been worrying about the law digital ID stopping us from accessing the internet? Yeah, Tony, I've been hearing more about it, and some of the things that you might have to do in order to have a digital ID, people aren't going to want to do that stuff. Then what happens now? You don't have access to the internet. Happy Girl, Oregon. So I used to live in Washington State on the West Coast, and I went to Portland, Oregon, in the summer times quite often. So I've been to Portland, Oregon, Santa Rosa, California. I was born in Orange County. Gravity. I was born in Orange County, California, and I grew up in Washington State. So Oregon's right there in the middle. If we can't access the internet, they can't brainwash the population. That's true. That's true. I travel button south in South Texas for another month. I think I'm going to Texas in May, I think, for work. Yeah, I'm very frustrated the more I hear about the digital IDs. It's not something that I want for myself. Also, another thing, since most of you are, hello, all good, Johnny. So since most of you are from Cosmic Agency community, you might have heard a recent video that talks about the fake alien invasion. And no, digital ID is just more control. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it is. We don't want digital ID. So I found it fascinating. In the United States, you can get what's called as a real ID. It's a real ID. That's its name. Okay. So what about a regular driver's license or a state ID isn't real? But now they've got this new term, a real ID. So you have to understand that, the controllers, they use words are important in the way they describe things. Words are magic. And so you say real ID, then you think about the recent video that was put out where they talk about the fake alien invasion, and they're talking about how a fake extraterrestrial race makes contact. And so our government and our leadership makes us have a real ID or a digital ID to prove whether or not we're human. Did you guys hear about that? You hear about that one? What better way to force people into getting a specific ID that you want them to have than to say that there are extraterrestrials amongst us that don't look human? And in order to prove that you're human, you have to have a real ID. But in order to have this real ID, you have to do this, and that in order to own it. And nobody wants to do those things. Telemind, that's society already. Look, there's other countries right now as we speak that are like that. That like if you don't you don't maintain your social credit score, where everything that you do is monitored and graded, then you don't get access to your money or you can get fined penalties. I think Canada's already been, taking people's money. Should have incarnated here as a dolphin. Well, maybe you still can. Maybe there's still time. What's happening in California? Gravity. Does not does the not real people set off the digital alarm? Yeah. Seriously. True, they took the truckers' money. Yeah. If you supported the truckers, your bank account was frozen. Can you believe that? It was said that at some point you will have to have a real ID to board a plane. They require that you provide proof of residency. Two docs, such as a birth certificate or a social security card, as examples. Okay. What I'm concerned about is, providing proof of residency or proof of identity is something we've all been doing since we were born if we lived in the States. But if they require any sort of medical intervention, which I'm not allowed to say on the stream, but if they require any sort of medical intervention to have a real ID, then that's when a lot of people are going to have a hard time. Yep. Yeah, I agree. Gravity. I know people that have moved out of California for that reason. You're even seeing celebrities. You're even seeing big actors and movie stars and pop stars moving out of Los Angeles, moving out of California in general. Have you guys seen the videos posted by truckers? Is trucker, am I even allowed to say trucker? Is that one of the new ban list words? Um, have you guys seen the videos of truckers who are, um, what's it called? Posting videos of them storing food. Like they're being told to take food into like bunkers and warehouses and just leave it there for the fake, food shortage. Hear about that? I lost and decided to lose my job. Yeah, gravity. So did I. I did the same thing. I had to give up the 7 years worth of investment into a career path that forced me to pay to play. So I lost my job. Yeah, Jules, Chris Farley would be pissed. I'm already in a van down by the river. You guys, you know what? I don't want to get okay. I have to end the stream here soon, here in maybe like 10 minutes. So I don't want to get off on like too big of a rant here to end the night. But like when it comes to homesteading and living off the land in order to avoid some of the totalitarian control that the direction that our countries go to, you can't even safely live off the land anymore because geoengineering, they're spraying so much in the air that it poisons the soil and it poisons the water, you know? So it's like living off the land when all this stuff gets really bad, they want to make it really challenging for people to do that too. Yeah, gravity, trust me. It hurt a lot and I was really angry and really upset and heartbroken, but at the end of the day, I don't regret it. Not against, the alternative. Trust me, there's a lot of people that regret it. They can't go back. You can't be like, "Well, I wish I didn't do that thing." The only thing you can do is not do the thing. Trust me. Telemind, I think that we're like three years out. 3 years max. It's called the digital. Um, it's called. There's a DID. There's a term for it already, where they want to do away with all cash, coin, and paper money, and have like a government issued digital currency. And then what they're going to do to force people to use a digital currency is places won't accept crypto or Monero or Pirate Chain. You're only going to be able to use like the government official digital currency. We are always tricking the things we don't want. What about free will? I only work part time now, as little as possible. Yeah. Oh, my friend. Salioka. Good to see you, my friend. I am unfortunately. Oh, you just woke up? Yeah, I've been streaming for close to 3 hours already. Just about to end the stream here. We've had some really, really awesome discussions about starseeds, about extraterrestrial races. We've talked a lot about artificial intelligence. We had the owner and the host of Cosmic Agency, Gosia, here herself, hanging out. I know. Oh my God, I'm glad I made it. Yay. Oh, I'm glad you're here, even if it's for only 5 minutes. No, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I lucked out because I work from home, but was prepared to walk. The Paya's unwinding is expired in the US on May. What does that mean, Jules? Can you please explain what that means? What's expiring on May 11th? Can you elaborate on that? The stream is absolutely amazing. Thank you, Darnell. This is a blast. I want to do this more often, you guys. I really do. I'm not so busy that I can't stream like twice a month. So I'm going to make it an effort to stream at least twice a month, maybe 3 times. And I want to improve my stream. I want to get some graphics and some cool transitions and things like that. So I'm working on it. Guys, hit the like button. I do plan to stream more often. So thank you all for being here very much. This has been a lot of fun. I just like to talk about these things. I'm just a Cosmic Agency fan like you guys are, and I like to connect with other people who are passionate about it, and loving the stream helps keep me sane here. Guys, you got to check out Tony's work. Go to Tony Woodcock's YouTube channel and look at his art. You won't even believe it. You won't believe it. Thought I caught some of it anyways. Yeah, Charlie. Yeah, I think you were like one of the first people here, Charlie, by the way. Jules, elaborate. What happens on May 11th? Can you explain that to us? Because I know you work in the medical industry, so I'm curious what your thoughts are. The enhanced payment structures for Papaya's cases are being pulled back, so the hospitals are losing their incentives. Oh, well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. I mean, in a sense, it's a good thing. But I think that there was like, what is the term I'm looking for? A critical mass. Jules, I think with the papayas, that's code, by the way, who don't know, we're referring to something, medical intervention. I think that I have this theory, right? That there was a critical mass they needed for X amount of people to have that medical intervention. Because because when, say, for example, just talk about the United States, only the US, for example, if enough people get it, I think that the reason why they were so insistent on everybody getting it, and you couldn't go to restaurants, you couldn't go to concerts, you couldn't go to movies, they didn't want you to have like fucking turkey dinner with your family, whatever the thing was, until you had it, right? Because when they reach a critical mass, I believe that it spreads. It's like a contagion in and of its own. It's contagious. So that if enough people have it, they don't need the rest of the country to get it too, because it will get to them one way or another. So that's a little theory that I've had, as to why they might be backing off on insisting everybody gets it, and why it's not being pushed as hard anymore, and why now all of a sudden everybody can go to concerts, everybody can go to the restaurant, everybody can have Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's because there a critical mass was reached, that enough people got it that it would get to the rest of the population organically. That's just a theory. I don't have proof of that. Just saying. And rant. How do I find more of your content? Okay, good question. I have everything that I have mostly is on my YouTube channel here. If you go to like That's So Meta, that's my podcast that I have with my partner Lauren. I also have another podcast that has 3 seasons, and you can listen to all of the recordings for free. It's called Celestial Oddities Pair of Normal Guys. And we have 3 seasons of that show. You could listen to any of the episodes for free. And we're doing a season 4 here in the spring as well. Darnell, I'll link you the Celestial Oddities link, and that's some really good content in there. 18 million people in the US are at risk of losing their medical health insurance because they couldn't disenroll people during the public health emergency. That's insane. That's crazy. I thought that too. I think that they achieved what they needed to do. It looks like that they've backed down, but that was part of the plan. See? You guys get me. You guys are right there where I'm at. I know you guys know what I'm saying. I know you all get it. I think a critical mass was reached, and I think that it spreads on its own, and that's why no one's being forced to do it anymore. It was added to the CDC's recommended schedule, and some schools are requiring it. My ORG will continue to require it for external facing roles if you are a nurse doing home care, for example. That's insane. Who's the art guy? Tony. Yeah, Tony. You guys got to see his stuff. He was one of the guys that hung out on my last live stream for the whole 2 hours, and then I checked him out. Just clicked his channel to check him out, and wow, he's an incredible artist, you guys. Let me see real quick if I can find my other podcast. I have like 3 seasons of another podcast. It's all metaphysics, it's all paranormal, it's all esoteric. Yeah, guys, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio. Apparently we're on Amazon. I didn't even know we were on Amazon. But any of the major audio streaming platforms, if you guys look up Celestial Oddities Pair of Normal Guys, you can almost find us on every platform. But I'm going to post my link for the Spreaker app, which is what we stream on. And season 4 will be back this spring. Try that out. That's another podcast that I co-host with a friend of mine, and we have a lot of metaphysical, esoteric content on there. Some really cool content. I've also referenced a lot of cosmic agency material on there, so you guys will feel right at home. Yeah, you know what we can do is message me on Facebook, and maybe sometime we can do like an interview together if you want. This is my friend, Sally Elka. She's also right there in alignment with us. Metaphysics, spirit science, extraterrestrials. She's got her own YouTube channel. Gaia Intuitive or Gaia Initiative. I forget which one, but check her out. And maybe we can do like we could do an interview sometime. It'll be fun. So yeah, guys, listen, I'm going to end the stream. It's dinner time. It's 6 o'clock here on the East Coast Saturday night. Thank you all very, very much for coming to hang out with me and coming to speak with us, sharing your stories, hanging out with Gosia. Guys, we had Gosia from Cosmic Agency just hanging out with us for like an hour and a half. How cool is that? So thank you all for being here. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed your guys' company. I promise I will do this again. I will do it more often. I appreciate your presence. Peace on earth. Big love. Go support Zael. Go support Mary Swaru. Go support Cosmic Agency and Robert. And go support my friend Sally Elka. And go support Tony and his art, it's amazing. He's so good. You guys got to see his work. I love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ship out. Big love. Thank you for being here. You guys have been a lot of fun, and I appreciate your presence. See you next time.